Welcome back to Collectibles Unscripted podcast. My name is Ryan. This is Haley, the Herminator.
Thank you for that. That was good. That was
I
good.
had to. I had to do it. How could you not? So
Absolutely.
Haley is a content creator slash anime and manga collector based, I believe, in Orlando-ish area.
Orlando-ish area. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, let's
hmm
go with that.
hmm
Central Florida, folks.
Yes.
Yep. So here we are. We are on a podcast and we're going to ask you about your collection, your story, and just how you started, what has come out of this for you, and how much fun you're having doing this. Because this is a lot of fun, isn't it?
It is, honestly. It's changed my life, to be honest, like getting into all this. So I'm loving every second.
So, Haley, what do you collect?
Oh dear. I have some things behind me. I collect Funko Pops, a lot of them. There's a lot not pictured here, but also a lot of manga, things that I love to read and will reread over and over. I do love, it's called World Collectible Figures. So that's something that's really based in Japan a lot, that takes forever to get to America. Blind boxes, I do enjoy a little glow in the dark little Smeeskis. Those are always a fun little collectible. Um, that's anything random for the fandoms that I love to find. Anything that goes on the shelf that's going to make it look a little extra. So a bit of everything.
Nice. Yeah, a little bit of everything here too. It's just you when you appreciate a fandom that's, like you said, it's that little extra thing just I don't know, having that physical rather than just a digital thing really helps you love and appreciate it more. So are you only like an anime person or are we talking like all pop culture things?
Oh, all pop culture things. A lot of my content is just geared towards anime, but I have been a lover of pop culture my entire life. My husband's whole side of the office is on the other side, and it is everything Marvel, Spider-Man, Venom, which we both love. But I, on the other hand of things, I love Doctor Who. That's a really big one outside of this. Anything Marvel as well. Um, Cartoons, any kind of media, really.
Anything like that's nostalgic to you as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. Get like I have a bunch of I was really more of a Cartoon Network kid than Disney, but I loved it both, so I everything's there.
So going into the nostalgia, of course, and talking about our childhood and our lives, how did you start your collection? What was that very first like thing you ever collected? What's your story?
Ooh, funny enough, I've always collected things, and so did my some of my people in my family ahead of me. But for me, my first thing that ever happened was in 2017. I volunteered. I was going to NYCC, and I volunteered, so I went and did the journey, and I got put at the Funko booth. I had never, right?
Oh,
It,
okay.
exactly. And I had never heard of Funko. It was crazy. I had never been to a big convention either. I'm a small town girl, moved to Orlando, and I just had no idea what I was in for. And people loved their Funko Pops. Really. And so I got my first, I actually have my first one. I keep it right here on my desk to remind me where I came from. It's out of box, of course. I do both. Yeah, right?
No
Exactly.
judge, right?
No judgment. You can collect collect what you love, how you love it. So, and I don't even have the box anymore. It's been with me for a while. So after the con, I went and got my first pink Power Ranger. Um, and then I don't have as much things. I've gifted them back to like my nephews and nieces and family members, and that's really when I got into it all. I have quite a bit of a collection also, probably in a storage unit and in my closet, so that I've run out of space. Right, that is the collector's problem. You run out of
We as collectors run out of space. We try to find space. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I totally get that.
exactly. About 80% of my time collecting is reorganizing and finding space. But yeah, that's after that I started collecting Funko Pops. I probably didn't get more into it, collecting a lot more of them until the last 4 years, just being more adult, financially responsible, probably still a little irresponsible at times, but just as I gotten older, been able to buy more things. But I still shop for a lot of deals, which is where a lot of my manga comes from. I read a lot of this online for free, and it's stories that I love so much, and then I find them for cheaper and keep them and read them. I love physical books, so some of these I only read physically and not online. But it's where I've started about the last 3 years as well.
So like right around like the pandemic time, you're like,
Yeah, right around the pandemic. Yep.
is that when you started getting into anime and manga, or is that just like when you really started delving into it? Like,
Good
what was your
question.
first anime or manga?
Right. My first anime or manga actually was Dragon Ball Z back when I was about 10 years old. I was in Taekwondo and I was surrounded by people that just knew all about everything anime related. I had no idea. And I was always a Pokemon kid growing up. I did love Pokemon. So I guess that was my first one when I was younger. But Dragon Ball Z, and I followed through Dragon Ball Z my entire life. I just never delve into the rest of it, I guess, until more towards in the pandemic, just like everyone, really, and how it's really populated over in the Western states. And that's when I really dove back in.
Did you start by rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender and then gatewaying yourself into it, like many did?
That is a family staple, actually. So that's probably rewatched probably at least every year in this household for as long as I can remember. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
A lot of people said that, that was their cartoons really gateway themselves into anime, because is Avatar: The Last Airbender anime or is it a cartoon?
Cartoon.
You
It's
know,
I would say it's anime for Americans, right? So it's got its own comics as well, that my husband actually loves to do. So it's a really good gateway to into this world.
yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Like the art styles and the way that things are portrayed in Avatar: The Last Airbender are absolutely phenomenal, and I think that's a great gateway for it, for sure. So, how big is your collection at this moment in time?
Ooh, good question. Um, I've lost count. I have lost count. I'm probably really bad at keeping track of it whatsoever. I think me and my best friend were counting. We were trying to see which collection is the biggest. I have a quite large One Piece collection and a My Hero collection. So I'm gonna, I don't know. I've lost count. It's hundreds.
Like when we're talking hundreds, we're talking about every single piece in your collection. Are we talking just manga, just Funko
Oh,
Pops?
good point. Funko Pop's probably closer into the between me and my husband, probably closer into the 5 or 600s. Would be my guess. There's a bunch of stuff we do have in storage that when we have separate office spaces, we would love to display for both of us and everything that we love. Manga wise, oh dear. Probably closer to around two, like 100 volumes, 200. Oh, there's more over here. Yeah, about to. And they're just they're just everywhere. Yeah, there's just more, and then there's more in front of me that I'm not even paying attention to. So probably roughly about two to 300 volumes. Yeah.
Very, very cool. No, that's awesome. I think I have like I had some as a kid, obviously, and then I don't know where they went. My parents are separated, so it's like, okay, well, this house had this house had this, but then
Same.
my mom moved in with her husband, and I don't know where a lot of that stuff went.
Same. I went through a bucket of all of my child like she just found a random bucket of toys in her attic.
You made content on that,
I
right?
did make content on it. Yeah. Yeah, I did. It did. Did you? I had a very torn up Goku, and I don't know why. I don't know why. But it was like Burger King anime toys.
You had Digimon, I
I
know.
had some Digimon. I did. Beetleborgs, which I completely forgot that existed. I also found a lot of Furby stuff, a lot of Furby things that I collected when I was little. So I've done this my whole life and not really noticing it. And I just kind of stopped when I moved into my own and getting to be my own adult until I really established life. And then I got back into it.
No, that's awesome. Like it's you have that nostalgia, but then you also have that I didn't realize I did this. And then you're at adult age, and you're like, "Hey, I have some money," It's like I should get some stuff that maybe I had in my childhood, but maybe I didn't, and you fill in that like that void, that gap. We're kidults, as they all say now. That is the biggest collectors, you know, group
I
right
like
now.
I like to I that's the first I haven't heard that one yet. So that's good.
Really.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I haven't. I'm going to be a freak adult for the rest of my life. I'm never gonna grow up. This stuff has always been part of my life and I will continue to do so.
So, what are some of your, highlights of your collection?
Ooh, highlights. Number one definitely has to be everyone comments on it when they see it. Right above my head, it's the Thousand Sunny from One Piece, and it's signed by members of the Straw Hat Crew. So I've been taking this thing around with me to different states to go, and it's difficult traveling across like Texas and California to get it signed.
That's a big one too, right? Like that's a big. We're talking about a Funko Pop. If people don't know, we are talking about a Funko Pop. It is a pop ride, so it is probably about, I don't know, I'd say 8 inches wide, about 6 inches, 5 inches tall. So it is a big one, and it is, a little flimsy. The bigger Funko Pops can be flimsy when it comes to the boxes.
Easy to damage. It stays in my like personal item carry-on the entire time, just stays with me. So I would say another part of my collection that I do love is things outside of Funko Pops. I do have some other things that I really love, like Death Note is one of my favorite animes, and I had the opportunity to meet the original cast on a trip in an event over in Texas. So I have all of those Funko Pops signed. So I think that's been really fun. So just getting to meet them and tell them how much I'm thankful for their career and what they've done and how much I've enjoyed their work. That's been great. I've seen them multiple times now, so that's always a good time. But the next thing that I really enjoy looking for is finding manga that is like out of print or first print that I love, like for the series that I love. So right in front of me, I actually see I've been finding the first printing of Death Note, and that's from like 2006 and forward. So it's the first ever because they keep reprinting it. So you'll see one that says like first printing 2006, and then you'll see ones that are like 21st printing, and it's 2023.
And that's like right. That's like right when you open these books most of the time, right? It like tells
Yeah,
you.
correct.
That's
Yes.
that's cool. So thinking of that and being a collector, now are you trying to find those in the best condition possible?
Ah, good point. As best condition as I can, books, sadly, they age. They do. So I'm not going to find one that's beaten and tattered and or it's got markings on them. I do have a couple things that are out of print that I found. Facebook Marketplace is a fantastic place to find some grails. That I did find something that from libraries. So I've added that to my collection, and it's okay. It has the library stamp, which I think is fun to see where it was enjoyed for many years in a library, and then added it to my collection because it's really hard to find this one story that I found. So it's might not be the best, but if I find something that's in better quality as a collector someday, maybe I'll trade it in. I'll give that one to someone, give it, sell it, whatever might come to be, to pass on that story to someone else.
Speaking of libraries, I actually have some manga that I got from a library that are pretty rare. It's Kingdom Hearts, but it's not just the like regular Kingdom Hearts series. It's a 358 over 2 days series, and there's only like five of them made. They're pretty hard to find in English. They're all pretty dang expensive, but my library ended up having like three out of the five of them.
Wow.
I have them right now, and I just haven't returned them yet.
That's funny you mentioned that. I've been reading so there's that's fantastic because I also have 20th Century Boys that I've been reading in their singles because right now you can't get them. They're just the single books. And they're very expensive when you find them in singles in comparison to what's called the omnibus. So an omnibus is a lot of volumes in one, right? So I have that I've been reading through, and I just got my first notice of, hey, your volumes 2 through 5 are overdue. And I'm like, oh, I need to bring those back. So thanks for the reminder. And I'm also looking at them like, oh, this is my holy grail.
All right, so if you had a house fire, what are you saving first?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Oh, I look at so many things in here. So this is something that I would save in a house fire. It is the first ever chapter of My Hero Academia from the Weekly Shonen Jump. So this I would save this because this is my whole heart and soul, to be honest. And I do have the last chapter, so I would probably grab this and the last two Weekly Shonen Jumps of My Hero, so I can keep that front and back forever. And then if I still had some weight in my arms, probably the Thousand Sunny. Probably the Thousand Sunny if I could carry it all.
That makes sense, you know. So that My Hero number one, is that in like a nice casing that you have, or is it just kind of out there, or what?
Yeah, not yet. It's actually just in a protective sleeve. So just like comic books come, it's in a protective sleeve. But I am looking for something out there for collectors that can either display Weekly Shonen Jumps that's going to fit it, but I haven't found anything yet.
So they're starting, you know, with the popularity of manga. You know, manga are Japanese comic books. You know, so everybody, people are starting to get the ideas of uh, why not, if we can grade comic books, why are we not grading manga? So manga is starting to be graded, so I'm sure magazines and Shonen Jump are not too far behind, to be honest. You know, so give it a little bit more time, and I think you'll have your answer.
I think so too. And it looks, I've seen some editions. I did actually see a volume one manga, like the comic, the Japanese comic for that being graded. I don't remember what company, but that was, we'll see. I'll keep it nice and safe somewhere, and then maybe I'll find something in the meantime.
We spoke about what you have in your collection and what you'd save in a house fire. What's a grail that you're still looking for your collection?
Ooh, a grail. If I could have the planet Arlia Vegeta, it is. It is in like the thousands. I am a huge Vegeta fan. He was my first ever favorite character. Still is going to be till this end of the earth. I would like that, and I would like to have it signed by Chris Sabat. That would be my favorite thing.
I I I, um I had that.
Yeah. Oh, you had it. Oh
I had it.
no.
It's killer.
Oh, what happened?
So I bought it directly off Toy Tokyo when it released, because I've been collecting for over 12 years now. And it released on Toy Tokyo as an online exclusive, and just people, I mean, I couldn't believe how fast this thing sold out for a pop figure of that year. I believe it came out, I want to say 2014, 2015 maybe, and that thing sold so quickly. That's the fastest thing I've ever seen sold in that time period. Nowadays, I know it sucks. I bought it for $15. It was like a Christmas gift, more or less, to myself. And I have a photo of it with like my Xbox that I got for Christmas, and it's tough. It really is. I traded it when it was like $400 worth for like another $400 pop, which was a Freddie Funko, a Jack Skellington. And I wasn't even that big of a fan of Jack Skellington, but it was like a Disney Freddie Funko, and that was like worth a lot of like nostalgia and money and everything to me, kind of. So I was like, this will be perfect. And then, you know, Planet Arlie Vegeta got very, very, very pricey.
Yeah, it's such a rare figure in its own because it's the only time Vegeta looks like that. Um, and that's, oh, I'm so sorry to hear. I know. So many collectors have, I'm sure we have those ones that we got rid of. You're like, oh, oh, that's the hard part about collecting. You never know if you're gonna get rid of something and then it's just gonna skyrocket in value after you get rid of it. And then you have that FOMO. You're like, oh, that used to be mine.
Yeah, it's tough, you know, and sometimes you're able to, and sometimes you're not. It's just that's life in collecting. What is a criteria for yourself that you use when you're adding to your collection?
Space. Space is one. Also, I've kind of started to downsize if I have that character already and it's a similar mold. Like for example, if it's going from plain to metallic or plain to glow in the dark, that's a criteria for me. Do I really need that version instead? So something to help me just save a little bit more money. So that way I enjoy to have one character of every or one mold of the different characters to allow myself to see each one. However, there are definitely characters that I collect a lot of, which is which is like Zoro, All Might, Vegeta. Funny enough, those are all of Chris Sabat's characters. But but like my hero things, my Dekus, my Bakugo. So that's kind of where my criteria is. Is that mold something that I'm going to enjoy? There's like a new One Piece wave. I bought every single one of them immediately. And I needed the chase version with Zoro with the bandana
Yeah,
on.
the pre-time skip one is really cool. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a One Piece anime watcher just yet. I will be when the One Piece drops. But, it's seeing that pre-time skip in the mold and like being a fan of the live action, it's very similar. It's in that same time frame of where the live action is. So yeah, no, those are really, beautiful molds for sure.
Beautiful. It's like I am a pre-time skip fan, so I've been waiting for those for a long time. Absolutely.
I see you obviously have stuff out of the box. You have stuff, lined up beautifully, everything like that. What is your tips for people for organizing these things?
Organizing is the hardest part. That takes me honestly a lot of hours. I have to be very mindful of how it to do this all.
Very demure.
Very demure, yeah, very demure, very mindful. Let's see if that's still a trend when this comes out. Right. So, being very mindful of your space and the characters that you want to display and where and how. So, for example, so I'll take this one piece shelf right behind me. I love to keep in mind that levels. So if you have a lot of space, making sure what are you gonna like build your entire, are you a maximalist or are you a minimalist? You keeping in mind what you think. And me, I'm I'm more of a maximalist when it comes to the Funkos, and then when it comes to the manga, I'm more of a minimalist. But some of the things I collect in manga, there's figures and things that don't exist. So that's where that style is. But tips for Funko Pop displays, um, buying risers. The acrylic risers really do help. And if you like to have things in box, kind of for example with this Thousand Sunny, I'm putting a box on top of a box. Um, do you want to keep your grails in box? Are you someone that takes your grails out of box? Thinking really hard about how you want to do that, um, because you collect how you like, collect how you love, right? And display however you feel it makes you happy and gives you serotonin when you're looking at it.
You stare at your collection, it's like, this is what I've done. Like this looks great. It's finally at that tipping point where it's like, I feel good about myself. This makes me feel good about myself.
Absolutely. If you're in a space that makes you happy, then you're going to be, for me as a content creator, it's going to make me feel creative. Because like in the last month, I've just been like moving things around, reorganizing, because I lacked love for my space for a little bit. So then I took it all down and put it back up, and it made me feel happy again. It made me love it again. So it's just taking time to figure out how you like your display.
Like you said, as a content creator, when you're in that space and you're having fun and you want to create content. If you're in somewhere that looks like not good, you're like, I'm not gonna create content here because this looks terrible. Like there might be like off the camera, there's probably some messy stuff over there. Everybody has that closet or that section or something, like right over there.
Right over there. Yeah, off to the side. Yeah, we have I doom piles. I have boxes of shame for well when I'm moving like a shelf. I'm currently trying to figure out where to put my Pokemon collection. So I have like a box of doom, shame, whatever you want to call it, because it's all my single pops out of their box because I do collect all my Pokemon out of box. So just trying to figure out where to put it next so because I can put all my stuff up. But yeah, that's currently occupying my doom corner.
I have a box of like Stitch stuff that I haven't been able to touch since we moved in. I want to put it in the kitchen, but my wife's like, yeah, no, we're gonna keep it confined to one room, thank you. This is not a museum.
That's great. Mine are everywhere. I get it.
As a fan of One Piece, what do you think the One Piece is?
It's not the friendship we made along the way. I can say that for sure. It 100% is not that. Oda has said it's not that. It is a physical thing. Um, it is a physical thing. But what is it? I don't, it's got to be some type of, I don't think it's a treasure. I think it's going to be something that is a maybe a secret weapon of some sort, something that's going to help save them from. So, One Piece, for those that might not know, One Piece, the further story is really about a corrupt government, a corrupt world that they're living in. And that's what I do believe, something that's going to help them save everyone, save the world. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, that makes a little bit more sense than treasure because it's like, oh yay, treasure.
Treasure! Woohoo! Woohoo! I just don't think it's going to be treasure, in my opinion. Yeah.
So, as a manga and anime content creator, what do you recommend as a first anime?
I think it's a deeper question of who is the person you're talking to and what do they love as media. So, like someone like me, I love it all. I don't think I've met a couple pieces of media that I don't prefer, but I've never really hated something all that much. The perfect finished anime that I would recommend to anyone is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It is phenomenal. It's quick. It's got, I think, around 60 episodes, which isn't that bad. But it's like, for example, if I were to tell someone that I know hates action, I am not going to tell them start with Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, it's not going to work.
And that's the thing with like Jujutsu Kaisen is like everybody's like, oh yeah, this second season is the best thing I've ever seen, and I'm like, but where's the story? It's just half an episode of fighting. Like, calm down, like it's cool animation. Don't get me wrong, but I got a little bored. I got kind of bored, and I'm a reader of Jujutsu Kaisen a little bit. I'm not caught up. I was caught up when Gojo halved himself, but that it's one of those things where it's like the art style it gets a little wonky at times. And I wanted to go into this. Is there an anime that pushes you off because of the art style?
Oh, have I met one like that? I'm trying to think about the art style because I have watched just about every variation of art styles, and I like them all. I like sometimes I like the older animation art styles. Like my favorite is going to be Cowboy Bebop. I love that and how that just simplistic look is. Sometimes for me, the newer style, which I know we've gone into more of the 3D animation and like the amazing CGI work that they do, or just in general, just the drawing, the animation part, the additional work that the animators have put into with the 3D styles, I might not enjoy as much as I do from my old school of Dragon Ball Z. I would like to see more of that someday again.
That's one of the things, like you said, you put a 3D plane on a 2D field, where at the same time it's just kind of like sometimes like, oh, this is freaking amazing, and the other times it's like it looks absolutely terrible, and it does not merge it, to these things. So when we're talking about like anime, like versus the manga, it's one of those things where it's like you read a manga and you see the panels go through, and you're like, how did this happen, in a sense. But the 3D animation makes it happen, but do you want it to look like that type thing? You don't know.
Right, absolutely. And I love that you bring that up about manga and like translating into the anime, because sometimes in comparison, when you're reading like a love story versus shonen, when you're reading shonen, you're trying to read these panels of these fights, and you're like, I have no idea what's going on until you see it animated. And you're like, oh, that's pretty, that's pretty cool. It looks pretty great. They did a good job there because I had no idea what was going on in the manga.
I was reading Attack on Titan, before the anime was done, and it's like when Hanji goes to sacrifice herself, you're like, wait, what's going on? Like, how many Titans are there? What's about to happen? You're jumping out of wait, what?
I
And then the animation's like, wee, and you're like, oh gosh, yeah, no, that happens, yeah, and then burning up, and yeah, it's tough.
I'm happy to say that I stayed anime only and spoiler free for Attack on Titan. So I didn't get to experience the manga. I am shocked. I can't say the same with Demon Slayer, however. That one has already been ruined for me, even though I know it's not done. So that one I've got to keep up with.
Was it spoiled for you, or you read it?
It was That's another, I guess, the thing about content creation is that when you make content about something, people just put it in your comment section. And you really, sometimes you can't be mad about it if you ask for no spoilers. You know, you've asked someone not to do something, they might do it. Um, right. And I think people don't realize that we're going to see these comments that I try to respond to almost every comment I get. I really do. So when I see it, I'm like, well, now I know how that what happens there, and it doesn't motivate me to watch it anymore. It kind of ruins it.
Yeah, sometimes like I'll get spoiled for like a death or something, and like it'll be like, oh, this person dies, and I'll be like, okay, if I don't know the circumstances on who this person is, who killed them, how they died, it doesn't hurt me too much. Like spoiler alert, Nobara dies. Like I was typing in Nobara Kugasaki when I was just watching the anime the first season, and you see on Google death, and you're like, huh? So as a content creator, but also as a person that reads manga and collects manga and stuff and understands that playing field, it's like tough. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, it's why I have to keep up with it every like Sunday if it when it comes out. It's mainly shonen. It's mainly shonen that it happens in, but I have to read it, or else it is completely spoiled as a content creator. They
Well,
just
then, and
love
then,
to do it.
going into like different genres, like, oh, romance, oh, they kissed. And it's like, well, that's the whole entire reason of this book. When does it happen? I don't know, but we'll get there.
Yeah, exactly. You're going into that knowing this is the two lead characters. They're gonna kiss.
Gonna happen, absolutely. There's gonna be some awkward stuff. There's gonna be a kiss or whatever, but it's gonna happen, obviously. That's what this whole thing is about. All right, I'm gonna ask you a tough one. Would you rather read manga or watch anime for the rest of your life?
Oh, I would. That's so tough. But what's sad is that not every manga gets turned into an anime. And right, and there are some amazing stories. I have been on a kick of reading one-shot mangas, and some of them have been turned into movies, or miniseries, and it's awesome that they've done that. But not every single story gets that. So I would rather read manga for the rest of my life, especially if I can keep it for cheap. That's especially if I keep it for cheap.
Yeah, so you talked about that. You're a digital collector in your mind of things, but you're physically looking for it, if you really enjoy that series. What is that like, trying to hunt down these things as a collector?
It's hard until you realize how to make it easy. So you have to know where to look, and that's what I try to do as a content creator, which I've learned from some other awesome content creators myself, on where to find it. So when I got into buying physical manga instead of just reading it now, where to find it for cheaper, where to find that, unless those out of print ones that I kind of talked about earlier, the as long as you know where to find it, such as Amazon. Amazon, you can find them for so much cheaper than just walking into your Barnes and Noble and your Books a Million. No offense, they all have great deals as well sometimes, but they better to go for the deals to get all your rewards when that happens, because there's other places online that you can get them for like 35% off the week that it drops.
You're not lying. Yeah, and same way like box sets and stuff too. If you're a collector of manga and you're looking at box sets, I would not buy them retail because they're either going to go on sale during the holidays, a few months later. You might be able to find somebody that bought this box set, was super excited, never opened it, only opened it once, and find it on these secondary marketplaces and everything. It's like we talk about My Hero Academia, and I have a lot right now that I'm selling of. I think there's like 10 volumes. I'm selling for 35 bucks.
That's a great deal.
Yeah, retail on one of those manga is $10 to $13 usually. So I'm trying to get rid of it because I know the box set is for volumes 1 through 20 can be found on, different marketplace things for like 60 to 80 bucks when retail was 150 bucks or whatever it is. It's one of those things where as a collector you're always looking, you're always diving into something, some new way of finding something for a cheaper price, especially nowadays.
Yes, correct. Absolutely. It's like I look at some of the grails that I have, and I'm like, if I got rid of that, maybe I'd be able to finally. That's the one box sets that I don't own. I have my own like manga wish list that I share with my family. That a lot of them they're like, "What is this anime stuff?" I'm like, "It's books. I like them. Please, I promise. Like, please, if you're not gonna buy them, just buy me an Amazon gift card, because that's the one box set that I don't have." And I look at some of those grails, I'm like, if I got rid of those. But no, I love my girls too much.
Have there been any memorable experiences or interactions with fans or fellow collectors that have been, very meaningful for you?
Absolutely. I think for me so far, it's been meeting my best friend through this. To be honest, I just started randomly making content on there because of the collection that I had and getting inspiration from other collectors that have posted. And I was just like, you know what? Why not? I'll put myself out there, build my confidence some more, get out of my comfort zone of what I do day to day. And that's been the most memorable is that making that friend who also is another collector, and then meeting another collector that lives in a different state or a different area, and just being friendly with people that are in the community and just going throughout that. And then sometimes in that collection, and the people are telling me, I love the way that you display those things. It's, asking for help, like, hey, can you help me find this? That's what I really pride myself in, is helping someone find that collectible that they love. That's probably my most, besides meeting my best friend, helping someone find that item that they've been looking for, or like remembering that interaction I had with someone asked for a Law Funko Pop, and where to find it, and I told them where, and then they messaged me later to say, hey, I have this, it's here in my collection now. And that makes me, it just warms my heart that I help someone find something, especially for a cheaper price sometimes.
Yeah, collectors helping collectors is always a great thing, and I think at Collectibles in our app we have that community and are building that community for collectors to help collectors and talk about these types of things and everything. But yeah, I think it's just a great feeling, like you said, when you help somebody understand something or get something for their collection. That's always a good feeling as a content creator for sure. And that's why I love personally to post like news stuff, like every now and then. Like it's not necessarily about the views, like I posted I knew it would do good because it's absolutely amazing, but the new Batman Batmobile Crocs,
Oh, absolutely, those are so cool.
they're stunning. So as soon as I saw this on a photo, because this is what I do for some content creation sometimes, I saw it on a photo and I was like, has anybody posted a video on this yet on TikTok or anything? I don't know. I'm gonna spread the news and let people know. As long as you're a content creator and you're having fun, it doesn't feel like work necessarily, and it's something you love doing. It's something you love sharing. When I go and I interview these people at these conventions and everything, I want to know or answers to these questions. People want to know the answer to these questions, and people also want to chime in and let others know what their answers are to the questions I'm asking.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if people love to hear people's opinions, people want to know what they think about something that they either love or hate. Anything that sparks emotion in people, they're gonna love. So that's what I think collecting does. It sparks emotion, whether you're looking at it or you're collecting it. Either way, yeah.
No, it's very true. I see some collectors that you look up to other collectors in a sense when you see their collections. You're like, wow. But at the same time, I there would be no way, and you know what, that I'd be able to afford that, and I wouldn't be able to bring that home because my significant other would be like, "Are you absolutely insane right now?"
You're saying I can't have a life-size Zorro in my house? Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely get it. But we're very difficult here in my house when it comes to space too. So
How do you balance your time between collecting, content creation, and other life responsibilities?
I don't let Honestly, I don't let content creation get in my way of living life. This is something I do personally on the side. And when I'm out and about, it's hard to kind of balance that. When you're out and about and you see something, you're like, oh, I know my followers or like even the community, the anime community is really going to enjoy that. And so I have to decide in a moment of, is this a moment that I can make content or not? If I'm going around the mall and I'm with my significant other and I'm just trying to figure out, should I do this or not. It's really about that communication and deciding. So when to make content for it, and then collecting itself, I actually schedule like me days to get out of the house and go do that myself. I really love going to the bookstore, finding different bookstores. I just crave that internal recharge by myself for a bit. So that's my time that I've scheduled to go collecting and content creation. And then I'll come home, spend time with my family, and then I'll stay up late and edit that content. And when we've already spent that family time. So that's it. It's a balance, but I mainly do it mostly on my weekends.
Very cool. No, very cool. Yeah. I have that family time, but also like posting and trying to schedule out things and stuff that usually, hopefully, comes at night where it's like all I have to do, during the day, if I am with my family or doing something else, I just click that publish button.
Absolutely. Right, absolutely. And I've seen that a lot lately is like sometimes it doesn't matter what time you post it at all. It just kind of like if you just press publish sometimes and finding that moment, that free moment, you never know. You never know anymore of what it's if it's going to go well or not. Yeah.
All right, Haley, where can our listeners find you online and follow your content?
All right, you can find me on TikTok at Haley Herminator, on Instagram at the Haley Herminator, and soon to be on Twitch and YouTube.
And don't forget collectibles.com.
Yeah, can't wait to get all my collection in there.
Awesome. Very cool. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners before we wrap up, Haley?
Just collect what you love. That's all. Get out there and collect something that sparks your heart.
Collect what you love. I love it. I love to hear it. I love to live that motto as well. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great night. Thank you so much to the listeners. This has been Collectibles Unscripted with Haley Herminator.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your time and go collect what you love. And check out collectibles.com. Check out our collectibles.com app. And we'll see you in the next one.